As you wish. Yes, a very good afternoon, everybody. Nothing better than V2X right after lunch. I work for the European Union, and I was invited to talk a little bit about the, let's say, the broader policy context into which ITS and V2X fits. We will have Martin and Niels from the relevant organizations, and then Toyota and Volkswagen talking more about the practical deployment of other technologies in Europe. But in Europe, our policies are guided by a pretty clear vision. We had a strategy that we came up with in the beginning of 2020, no, at the end of 2020, the Sustainable and Smart Mobility Strategy, which provides the foundation in Europe for greener, smarter, more resilient EU transportation system. And then very recently, now in March 2025, this was complemented by an EU automotive action plan, which sets out then the 5 crucial areas of focus, from innovation and clean mobility to competitiveness and skills. And this is our roadmap, really, for securing a place amongst the leaders of in the global race for software-enabled AI-powered vehicles. I was mentioning to maybe some of you were at the opening session. I already alluded to a kind of regulatory timeline, which we think is pretty ambitious and clear for the next year or two. We will approve unlimited series of vehicles with automated parking systems still this year. Next year, in 2026, we will expand on use cases to include hub-to-hub freight transportation. We will, in 2026, also propose harmonized admission approval rules for automated driving systems and for advanced driver assistance systems. So the objective really is to leverage the power of the EU single market, what we call the common EU market, to create a consistent rule book that will accelerate the development that the operators here are doing, and accelerate the market uptake of these technologies across the European landmass. It is true today that we don't quite see the same automated driving systems in use in Europe on the level that some manufacturers are providing here in the US. At the same time, in Europe, manufacturers are introducing technologies which allow vehicles to communicate with each other and with the infrastructure, and over time we believe that this will provide massive benefits, not only to safety, but equally to traffic management, to reducing congestion, etc. And once we are at it, maybe let's have a quick word on congestion. In the European Union, we have actually quite scary or compelling, powerful figures on the real cost of congestion to our economy and our society. So we use a round headline figure of 1% of GDP wasted in traffic, deliveries delayed for manufacturing processes, etc. And in the more dense areas in the European Union, in Benelux, Belgium, the Netherlands, in parts of northern Germany, probably around Paris and in northern Italy, that cost can go up towards 2% of GDP. Now, the European Union, is a 20 trillion euro economy. You do the maths, and you quickly start to talk about tens, if not hundreds of billions. If you take 1 or 2 percentage points out of a 20 trillion economy, you start to talk about possible pots of efficiency gains if you manage to handle congestion, manage traffic more efficiently. So where else, you may ask yourself, in the economy, do you have pots of potentially tens, if not hundreds of billions lying around? ITS can directly contribute to taking cars off the roads by making alternative transport modes more attractive, by providing seamless intermodal solutions, and efficient first and last mile solutions, ITS and CITS, can also contribute to reducing congestion, as we discussed, by avoiding accidents, dealing more efficiently with accidents, or generally dealing more efficiently with traffic management. This being the case, the contribution of ITS to our economic efficiency and ultimately to the competitiveness of our economies can be very significant indeed, over and above the direct impact on and contribution to safety, reducing emissions, improving public health and road safety that we typically mostly discuss on these occasions. Road safety should be of course mentioned as well. It is at the very core of the digital revolution, evolution and revolution. The European Commission's views, in the Commission's views, automated vehicles are a critical enabler of the Vision Zero that was already referred to here earlier on. Our goal of eliminating road fatalities in Europe. Automated vehicles can and will actively reduce human error, which contributes to an estimated 95% of road crashes. We must take a systemic view of safety that integrates all road actors, including vulnerable road users, infrastructure managers, the lot. To achieve this, we will, in the European Union, prioritize funding for AV safety validation projects, focusing on protecting vulnerable road users and addressing mixed traffic scenarios. Now, the data, again, a data point for those who are so inclined. In 2024, in the European Union, the average fatality rate was 44 fatalities per million, compared to 118 fatalities per million in the United States. In the capital city of Finland, Helsinki, 2024 passed, and this is a city of some 700,000 inhabitants, 2024 passed without a single road death, not one person killed in a car, or any pedestrians or cyclists killed by a car. 700,000 people living in Helsinki, 0 road fatalities. Washington DC, where I have the privilege of living at the moment for a number of years as a posting, I just checked up the figures. Washington DC has around the same 700,000 inhabitants. DC had 47 people killed in 2024 in cars, and an additional 110 pedestrians and cyclists. Or if we talk about our host city, Atlanta, with some 514,000 inhabitants, had 90 road fatalities in the year 2024. So 0 or 90, it gives something to think about. Still, it should be underlined, the EU may have only 1/3 of the road fatalities per million compared to the US, but this is certainly no excuse for complacency. Every road death is one too many, so we are working on the Vision Zero very strongly, and the improvement of road safety, we believe in the European Union, to the extent that it has been achieved, is a direct result of our stringent standards, and we must not compromise them. Furthermore, as we deploy new technologies, we must also ensure that they are protected against cybersecurity risks, which could lead to deliberate crashes and system failures. To deliver on this vision, we are building a robust digital infrastructure. The revised Intelligent Transport Systems Directive from 2023 that many here in the room may be quite familiar with is a major milestone, we believe, in ensuring that crucial data is digitized and accessible. And to complement the recently adopted directive, we are working on a European mobility data space which will facilitate seamless real-time data exchange, which in turn is essential for the smart mobility services. As you will hear more in subsequent interventions from Martin and others, collaborative projects like NAPCOR and what we call the Zero's platform are already working to harmonize data and infrastructure cross borders. Collaboration with stakeholders, which I think is at the heart of this event that we are participating in, is a constant in the European setting as well, and it takes place at different levels. Worth mentioning is the European ITS Advisory Group, which gathers representatives of the whole ITS sector. We have the European Association of Operators of Toll Road Infrastructure, the ASECAP. We have police, the European Network for Cities and Regions cooperating for innovative transport solutions. We have OEMs, we have Tier 1 suppliers, telecoms associations, we have 5G, the 5G Automotive Association, user associations, the International Association of Public Transport, UITP, we have ITS service providers, and certainly for the purposes of, again, this event, last but not least, Ertico ITS Europe. So the role of this advisory group is to advise the European Commission both on the business and technical aspects of the deployment and use of ITS in the European Union. I'm sure there will be more figures in a minute, but as has been the case for some time already, we have more than 20,000 kilometers of European roads now featuring CITS infrastructure, with more than 2,700 roadside units in operation. And that was the case already last time we came together at this forum, but it continues very much to be in the focus. We are broadening the scope from major highways also to include the urban environment, cities, offering services like real-time roadwork warnings, in-vehicle speed limit adjustments, traffic light prioritization, etc. With CITS platform, the CITS platform is actively developing more advanced cooperative and administrative automated mobility solutions. Maybe a final word on the fact that we my predecessor was so succinct that I can afford one more reference to how in the European Union we also try to put our money where our mouth is. So the vision requires significant and sustained investment. Our funding programs are being reinforced to meet the challenge. The Horizon Europe program will make available 1 billion euros to support connected and automated mobility. Since 2014, the Connecting Europe facility has provided around 750 million euros for ITS and CITS projects. And looking ahead, the Commission's proposal for the next, what we call multi-annual financial framework, the EU long-term budget plan, we are including in the Connecting Europe facility a budget of some 51.5 billion euros, a new European Competitiveness Fund, again with 26 billion euros, and 40 billion from Innovation Fund to finance, amongst others, clean, connected and automated mobility. So these investments, we think, really are a testament to the commitment to a competitive future in this sector. So in conclusion, our policies and investments are converging to build a unified digital single market for mobility. We are not just creating new technologies, we are creating an ecosystem that is safer, more efficient, and more competitive for all of Europe and hopefully many partners around the world. Many thanks.